Hey guys, our next video is about the 7 principles of the Constitution. Remember that this word principle, especially when it's spelled with this P-L-E, it means a major rule or a major idea. So our founding fathers created this Constitution to govern our country with 7 guiding ideas. Okay? We remember the 7 principles of the Constitution by calling it flip rocks. F is federalism, L, limited government, I, individual rights, P, popular sovereignty, R, republicanism, C, checks and balances, and S, separation of powers. So I'm just going to go down in order. And we have F, federalism. This is when the federal government shares power with the states. There are some powers that are unique to both sides, and there are some powers that they both share. For example, the federal government has the power to wage war, they have the power to create post offices, and they have the power to coin money. The states, on the other hand, have the power to make rules about education, to make decisions about licenses, and maybe to make decisions about things like a speed limit. Now, here in the middle, a power that they would both share would be called a concurrent power. Both have the ability to tax. Moving on to limited government, we saw this initially with the Magna Carta, and then we saw it again in 1689 with the English Bill of Rights. But our forefathers who created the Constitution love this idea of limited government because it says that the government only gets its powers from the people. The government can't decide what its powers are. And with limited government, all people have to follow the same laws. Doesn't matter if you're a celebrity, if you are a leader in the government, or a regular person. Everybody's got to follow. So here's our example of the president throwing his Happy Meal out of the window from McDonald's, and Washington, D.C. Police Department stops him and says, "Here's your ticket, Mr. President." Under limited government, he will get a ticket because he is not following the laws. All right, next up we have I, individual rights. Individual rights is best shown by our Bill of Rights added to the Constitution in 1791. Individual rights is going to be guaranteeing that our federal government will protect people's freedoms. Freedoms such as freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of the press, the right to a trial by jury, the right to no cruel and unusual punishments, etc. We'll talk more about that when we study the Bill of Rights later this week. Next up, we have P, popular sovereignty. Popular sovereignty means that we have a government where the people are in charge. We, the people, rule. That is best seen in the first 3 words of our Constitution, or the preamble, we, the people. Okay, so our government is best shown as a representative democracy, that we have popular sovereignty, that the people give the power. R stands for republicanism, and a lot of kids get this confused and they think that it's about being a Republican or a Democrat. It's not. It simply means that people use their power by voting. Now, you can use that to your advantage, though, by thinking, okay, Republican is a party that somebody might vote for. So somebody can go and vote for either a Republican or a Democrat or a different party, but Republicanism is simply people vote for representatives to be their voice in government. C, checks and balances. Every single branch of government, of the federal government, has some powers that it is able to use to check or control the other branches from becoming too powerful. So we're going to keep this balanced at all times. So, yes, the legislative branch makes laws, but they can't make whatever laws they want. So the executive branch has the power to veto those laws made by the legislative branch. They don't get too heavy or too big for their britches. Same thing, judicial branch, they can strike down a law and say that it is unconstitutional and kind of balance out the power. Finally, we have S, separation of powers, and that is simply the idea that the federal government is going to divide its power into 3 branches so that nobody becomes too powerful. We have L, stands for legislative branch, E stands for executive, J for judicial. And we will talk more about their powers and their abilities in the next video. And that is it for 7 principles of the Constitution.